How's it going, guys? It's Red, and in this video I'm going to be showing you guys a super powerful assault rifle DPS setup that you guys can be using right now in Back 4 Blood. But before we get into that, if you're new here to the channel, make sure to leave a like on this video and subscribe for more awesome Back 4 Blood content just like this. Also, make sure to check out the link to my Discord server. It's going to be down in the description below. You guys can use it to find teammates to play Back 4 Blood with, so if you guys are in some dire needed teammates, make sure to come check out the Discord server. And without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Alright, so here we are in the deck building menu in Back 4 Blood. This is going to be the complete deck list, so if you guys are just looking to copy and paste the deck, now is your time to do so. But for the remainder of this video, I'm just going to be talking about what role every card plays in the deck and just everything like that. Now, the general game plan that we are going to be wanting to follow with this deck specifically is we are going to want to be on Special Infected Patrol, because something that assault rifles do better than most of the other weapon classes in the game, with the exception of like snipers, is takes one-on-ones against Special Infected really well at a distance. Not very many of the Special Infected are going to be able to do anything against you as long as you hit your shots with the assault rifle against them, because most of the distance Special Infected, like Hawkers, Stalkers, stuff like that, you're going to be able to kill them within 2-3 shots with how we have this deck made. And anything that has a little bit more HP, stuff like Reekers and Tall Boys and stuff like that, you're going to be able to gun them down before they even get close to you. So primarily, you always want to be looking out for the Special Infected, because you are going to be able to kill them much easier than like most of the other people, and you're also going to have, a lot more consistent damage to them a lot quicker than most other people, because you can take these fights at a range. Now, with that being said, the first category of cards that we are going to go through in this deck are going to be the weak spot damage cards, and to start this category off, we have Hyper Focused, which is going to give us plus 50% weak spot damage and minus 40% move speed while we're shooting or melee attacking as the downside. And in the number 2 slot, we have Hellfire, which gives us plus 45% move speed while we're firing and plus 3% move speed while we're not firing. Now, this card is in here solely just to take off the downside of Hyper Focused, because I do think that giving plus 50% weak spot damage on a single card is just good enough to the point where I think we can play another card to counteract this. Up next, we have Reckless Strategy, which is going to give us plus 30% weak spot damage and minus 5% damage resistance as the downside. Next, we have Knowledge is Power, which is going to give us plus 10% weak spot damage, and it allows players to see values for damage they deal and enemy health bars. And to round off this category, we have Front Sight Focus, which is going to give us plus 20% accuracy, plus 10% weak spot damage, and plus 15% aim speed and recoil control. Now, the reason that you're going to want to play these specific weak spot cards in this deck is because these are going to add up to exactly 100% weak spot damage, and weak spot damage is one of those categories that you don't want to go over 100% for, or it's actually going to start negatively affecting you. And also, there's really just not that many other good weak spot cards in the game. Like, there's like Ridden Slayer, but like outside of that, I mean, this is pretty much the only playable weak spot damage card we're not playing in the deck. And this is just like one of the most linear things ever. Like, I would much rather play Knowledge is Power and Front Sight Focus and get my 20% weak spot damage that way, and also get the extra value of having health bars on all the Special Infected, which that's your main job with this deck, and you get 3 other passive abilities that are all good with ARs if you just play these 2 cards over Ridden Slayer. Like, the main thing that I try to do with my decks is I try to not have my cards be linear. I try not to have them only do one thing. So I really like, my weak spot damage cards to do just more than weak spot damage if possible. Like, there's obviously things like Hyper Focused and Reckless Strategy, which are like the exceptions because you need to just have, a base amount of weak spot damage. But it gets a lot different when you get into like, your last weak spot damage card, because like you can either choose to only use 1 slot and use Ridden Slayer and then use another, free slot up, or you can choose to use Knowledge is Power and Front Sight Focus and use up 2 slots and just accrue a lot more value that way. Alright, and the next category of cards that we are going to be going through is just going to be our base damage cards, and to start this category off, we have Glass Cannon, which is going to give us plus 25% damage, but minus 30% of our health as the downside. Up next, we got Shredder, which is going to say each bullet hit causes the target to take 1% increased damage for 3 seconds, stacking up to 15%. Up next, we got Patient Hunter, which is going to say every 0.75 seconds we aim down sights, it increases our bullet damage by 10%, up to 3 stacks. Now we got Silver Bullets, which is going to give us plus 10% bullet damage and plus 15% effective bullet range. Up next, we got Large Caliber Rounds, which is going to give us plus 7.5% bullet damage and plus 200% bullet penetration. And to round this category off, we are going to have Line 'em Up, which is going to give us plus 10% effective bullet range, 15% recoil control, and 25% bullet penetration and aim speed. Now, these first 3 cards in our DPS slot, Glass Cannon, Shredder, and Patient Hunter, these are all in here just to make our base damage so high that even if we aren't consistently hitting the weak spots on our special infected, we are still just going to be killing them super quick, because it is just very vital for you to get rid of them as quick as humanly possible. And I mean, if you hit them in the weak spots, they're gonna like super extra die, but if you happen to just not hit them in the weak spot, that's why you play these cards, so it's not nearly as bad. Now, we're playing Silver Bullets exclusively for the effective bullet range that this card gives us. I mean, we already want to be taking everything at a distance to begin with, and this card just really synergizes well with what we're trying to do. And we're playing large caliber rounds strictly for the bullet penetration that this card gives us, because if we didn't have any bullet penetration, all of the common infected would just stonewall our bullets and make it really hard to get to a lot of the special infected. And I mean, a lot of, the special infected aren't big like tall boys, and you can actually shoot through them. Like, you can shoot through hawkers and hit, common or vice versa and stuff like that. So having a, really good amount of bullet penetration is very useful in this deck, in my opinion at least. And in my opinion, Line 'em Up is just an absolute all-star in this deck. All 4 of these effects are stuff that you want to be doing with an AR. Like, you obviously want the effective bullet range because we're playing a card literally for almost that much effective bullet range. And we're also getting recoil control and aim speed along with bullet penetration, something that we're also playing a whole nother card just to have a lot of. Alright, and the last category of cards that we're going to be going through in this deck are going to be our reload speed cards. And to start it off, we're going to have Cold Brew Coffee, which is going to give us plus 15% reload speed and plus 25% aim speed, weapon swap speed, and use speed. Next, we have Wide Mouth Magwell, which is going to give us plus 30% reload speed and minus 5% damage resistance as the downside. And to round this category off, we have Ammo Belt, which is going to give us plus 50% ammo capacity and plus 15% reload speed. Now, when you add these 3 up, it actually only gives you 60% reload speed, and I actually did that on purpose, because I don't think that this deck actually needs to have a plus 100% reload speed to be effective. I just think that the base reload speed for all the ARs is a little too slow, and I just thought that giving a little extra something to the reload speed is exactly what the deck would need, and if I could just accrue other value while getting that reload speed, that's exactly what I want to be doing. That's why I'm playing cards like Ammo Belt, which is going to help out with the ammo capacity, which, I mean, is kind of a problem with ARs, especially if you're not playing solo, like with the bots that just drop you infinite ammo. Like, ARs can really eat up through some ammo, and I think Ammo Belt is a much more synergistic card than a card like Ammo Mule in these decks, because, like, yeah, you get to hold more ammo, but this gives you reload speed. And we also are now able to play Cold Brew Coffee, which, along with the reload speed, we also get aim speed, weapon swap speed, and use speed. Cold Brew Coffee is really good in this deck because it gives us plus 15% reload speed and plus 25% aim speed. Those are the 2 things that this card gives us that are really good for ARs. And I mean, getting extra weapon swap speed and use speed is, I mean, it's nice, and just having that extra value from just getting our reload speed activated is nice. But just because it's not as good as a card like Line 'em Up in this deck doesn't mean that they're not good. Now, unfortunately, I do feel like we have to play Wide Mouth Magwell in this deck, and even though I said I don't like my cards to be linear, I do feel like you do have to play Wide Mouth Magwell in this deck over something like Reload Drills or Mag Coupler, because, I mean, Mag Coupler we obviously aren't using because we're not going to disable our ADS just for some extra reload speed, and we don't want to use Reload Drills in this deck, at least in my opinion, because I do think the extra 10% reload speed matters. I think the difference between having plus 50% and plus 60% reload speed is actually pretty huge, and your deck doesn't really get anything from the plus 25% weapon swap speed. Like, I get it, if you're trying to just look for all the extra effects and all the extra value, you might want to play Reload Drills, but I mean, this isn't gonna help you synergize with your deck. Like, it's not gonna help your game plan, because realistically, you don't ever want to switch off your AR in this deck. You never want to have to switch to your pistol. If you're switching to your pistol, that probably means you're out of ammo and things aren't going well, and just being able to switch to your pistol half a second faster isn't gonna help anybody. And for the last card in this deck, we have High Vis Sights, which is going to give us plus 30% aim speed and plus 15% move speed while we're ADSing, and plus 15% move speed while we're firing. So we're playing this card for a couple reasons. Now, the first reason that we're playing this card is because of the aim speed that it gives us. Now, ARs don't really have the fastest aim speed in the world, and much similarly to its reload speed problem, I do think that they need a buffer, but they don't need to go all the way up to just plus 100%, because I think that's just overkill. I think plus 30% aim speed is more than enough, plus we have a lot of other cards that just tack on aim speed like on top of it, and the plus 15% move speed that we get from ADSing and while we're firing ever since the new update has made this card a lot better in hyper focus decks, because if you use Hellfire and High Vis Sights, you actually start getting plus percentage move speed while you're firing, which is just absolutely unheard of in a hyper focus deck. Well, that's going to do it for the video, guys. Make sure to leave a comment down below telling me any deck changes that you guys would make, and as always, if you happen to enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more awesome Back 4 Blood content, just like this. Also, make sure to check out the link to my Discord server. It's going to be down in the description below. You guys can use it to find teammates to play Back 4 Blood with, so if you guys are in some dire need of teammates, make sure to come check out the Discord server. And until next time, it's been Red, and I'll see you guys in the next video.